We're live. Hi, everyone.
Bamba.
I will edit that out of the recording. Okay. So, welcome. Shall we? Who wants to start?
I can start.
Yes, okay.
So, I finished adding a new ability to custom data source to basically trigger a refresh of the component. Can you hear me? No? I don't know. Javier is marking something. Yeah, okay. So basically, I've added ability from the custom data source to to decide if it wants to populate a new field called expires at, which is a date formatted string. Basically, if the custom data source returns this field in the atom feed, so the component will refresh itself when this date will arrive. We added the documentation for this new field in the ZAP tech book. The scenarios in which this screen and this feature may be used are, for example, if you have a list of programs and you want to refresh the list every time a program is over or something. So the custom data source in the JavaScript, they basically define this field to be the time when the next program is over. And then it reloads the data every time a program is over, and then you see the screen being refreshed. It's not only for programs, you can do it basically for every screen and every feed. So that's it for me. Yeah, I think that's it.
All right. Cool.
I still have sorry, Javier and Jonathan Gold reported an issue on one of their apps with its development, so I'm still checking it. So I don't know if it is 100% stable, but it is there.
Who got this noisy keyboard?
There's a lot of background noise coming from somewhere.
It was Tarek.
Okay.
Tarek, now you are the next one because of the keyboard.
I don't have a noisy keyboard.
Anyway,
Yeah.
Tarek, do you want to go next since you already started?
Yeah, you are almost done, all of you?
All of us? We just started.
Why are you expecting to be the last one?
I'm always the last one, but never mind. So listen, yeah. So as I said last week, I was working on researching, on developing our own advertisement plugin system. So the state of that today, after like discussing with teams up, like Yoni, Austin, and Gil, also Dog, like I'm all in the like POC. Like I have a POC already that is working. I have the interfaces like ready. I'm just testing them. I'm working also on testing that with like an ad provider that is called Artemedia, like for video ads. And for now, like it's working fine. But as discussed with Yoni, like we should support three types of ad types, like video ads, banners, and interstitials. But for now, like the interfaces and the plugin architecture will support all of them. But we will only implement the video ad type in our SDK because for timeline issues. And I think by the next tech talk I will have like all pull requests and so on, and it should be
But wait, video pre-rolls and banners and interstitial, well, maybe let's separate to pre-rolls and banners and interstitial. Okay, they are completely related, and they can be provided by different providers. So it shouldn't be one plug, because
What do you mean?
if you want, if for example I have a banner provider for of whatever DFP, okay, and I want IMA which is served by Freewheel. Why are you laughing, Gil? Anyway, so if I want to mix between them, okay, so I should be able to do it. I don't need to create a new plug that mixes them.
No, well, what is the plan? Like for now, our only ad provider is DFP, correct? Okay, so if you want a plugin for like video ads only, you can implement that and leave out the banner and interstitial, and they will go to back to the plugin will check if you support like an ad type of type banner. If you don't, it will like move along and behave like the default behavior.
Okay, but what I am saying is that the ad provider shouldn't be banner, banner, interstitial, and pre-rolls. Okay, you should have one plugin family for video ads. You should have one plugin family for static banners. This, for example, can be most of the time generalized to both interstitials and banners together, okay? But also this, sometimes it is separated. For example, we had once app that served DFP banners for the bottom banner, and for the interstitial, use the whatever custom banner provider, which is not DFP. Okay,
No.
It should be completely different plugin family. Also,
Yeah,
the SDKs that they are using are completely different. IMA SDK is not the same like DFP SDK for banners.
yeah,
So there is absolutely no sense to merge them together into one plugin.
they will not be like for now. If you want, like let's say you have a request to support like video ads and interstitial ads, but not banner ads. So in the plugin, you can define that I support these types and not the third type. But so the third type will revert back to the default behavior and use the default implementation. But if you mean like if you want, you have two new ad providers. One of them supports like video and interstitial, and another one will support banners, like two new ones. So yeah, this is like I think also can be done with the like it's all a configuration thing. Like you can configure each provider what ad types you support, but you have to have only one ad provider per like ad type, of course.
Okay, so one ad provider, one ad type.
Yeah.
Okay, so you can mix and match different
like you can say
providers.
I want InMobi as an ad provider, and InMobi has a good payout for like video and interstitials. Okay, but I want a Vangel for banner ads. So you can implement.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And if you don't, so it will revert back to the default behavior that is implemented now in our SDK. I will not like I will not touch the current implementation. I will just wrap it in an FLs, even though it has been discussed that the correct implementation is really to pull out all our current implementation into also a default plugin. But you know it's a lot of work, and we don't have really the timeline for that. So yeah, this is for me.
Okay. Cool, thanks.
Welcome.
Javier, either of the Javiers? Let's just go from left to right.
I don't know who's left on your screen, but I'll go.
You are.
So I got the plugin merged. I'm sure you you guys have seen it already. I want to make a better documentation on that, so I'll be doing that today because it's that image I showed of like the diff between the old manifest and the new one. It could be confusing. Several people have erased the dependency repository URL key and value, which then the rake tasks complain about. That was my bad because I made it look like, hey, you don't need this entire object anymore, but you do need to leave it blank because the rake.
Javier, you don't need it anymore.
Oh, you merged that already?
Yeah.
I was just, Hani was having the same issue yesterday after we talked, so I assumed maybe you fixed it in like when you actually do, I don't know, I was thinking it was fixed in SAPIFS instead, but you fixed it in the rake test itself, right? Like if it doesn't have it, it doesn't complain? Okay. Well, then never mind. Regardless, I still want to make better documentation for that. Besides that, we are continuing work on the feed to make it generic. We're modifying now the SDK so that we could pass a new parameter in the old URL schemes to open the feed. And now you could pass an extra param and it could open the new feed. And it passes the timeline IDs and the styles to it. And then later we'll be working on a new feed button, like the old one we have that, you know, has different states whether the feed is active or not. So we're going to basically reproduce that one, but have it work for the new feed. And last thing, I'm helping Dada with an issue we have in Chagres where the headers don't update. Like first time around, we go through the composite component list layout and the headers are like inflated and they're rendered. And then once the data loads per component, the recycler list layout gets like some on metadata loaded or something like that method. And there we try to update. We try to grab the header and reinitialize it with the new data. And that seems to go on ignored. I can't figure out why, but that's currently what I'm looking at. And that's it.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, it's a really strange issue. So I've been trying to look at a few times like as well, and I never managed to really understand yet what's happening. I don't know if it's a recycling issue or whatever it is, but it's definitely not straightforward or obvious why it's not rendered. The funny part is that, you know, the text view actually gets the text. It just doesn't render. I don't know why. And well, anyway, so thanks, Javi, for that. Appreciate the help with that. In my case, yeah, I was trying to work. I was trying to allocate this week to work with this family interface thingy, like the thing that the SAP team was working, especially Alex. And so with the Dagger and everything, all the use cases. So all the use cases, the repositories, everything is done. I just need to introduce Dagger and then actually use the use case from outside the class. And the thing is that I always get interrupted with some issues. So it's hard to make progress there. But hopefully this afternoon I can continue that and I actually can bring Dagger finally to the generic if I have time. And see if I actually can see the whole flow working. And then I will show you guys the entire like application of the architectural things that I've been talking to you guys in an entire flow. So
Atanas is very excited about that.
Yeah. Oh, you look at him. It's like there you go. So yeah, so cool. And so yeah, hopefully I'll have it before Christmas. So like during this, I mean, I was expecting to try to work, you know, a few days this week on that, but between yesterday's flights and things that when I got here, got caught up with stuff, and then project managers, you know, with issues, that last minute issues, it was hard to spend time on that. So I will hopefully work out with that this afternoon, and then also tomorrow I will try to close Slack and see if I can concentrate on that for a little bit at least. And that's it from my side. So. And yeah, by the way, so yeah, I also, as you said, Gil, I pushed a PR for removing the M from. I'll explain it to you guys before actually merging, so you guys all know. But it's fairly straightforward, and it's, as you fix the version thing, then it's even better. And yeah, I haven't merged the code just because there is also need to finish the. If anyone is up to the task, creating some Ruby tests for verifying that everything works, I'm glad, and I would appreciate the help. So not really familiar with like the Ruby testing framework, but so yeah, the idea is to, as I say, like to remove the M file from our local, and also finally remove or at least clean up the font folder as well. So the idea when we actually clone the Zap Android, we have a clean slate, so we don't have to be picky about things that we put in our PRs or not, because there's things that are automatically being changed. So yeah, that's a small step forward. By the way, one day there is a PR hanging there for quite a long time, and I never managed to actually test it. It's the Picasso one that you remember, Atanas, that I did really long time ago. And the question is, does anyone, you guys know which app uses Picasso or could potentially use this provided Picasso thing? Any of the plugins?
Yeah, actually, I meant to tell you about it, but last time I was working on Android TV, let me verify, but I think that Android TV is using Picasso for something.
It's not so that it's actually using it so bad. I mean, this doesn't really matter that it's using it so much. It's the fact that, actually in our code base, it was not using it. It's the fact that there is a plugin that there's menu bar plugin, which actually provided in the Gradle, as, saying, okay, I don't satisfy my own dependency. Let whoever is using me provide, that dependency for me. And that if I remove the dependency from the generic, obviously that I will break anyone that is actually using that provider in the first place, because in reality, you should satisfy your own dependencies, not, letting someone else. So I know that you changed it with the bottom navigation thing, Atana, I think. And so
let's see that if there are plugins that are using provided, we will find out, and the developers will be responsible to edit.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so then I will take a look at that, because it's just removing clutter. And we have a lot of like files and a lot of like, especially layouts and everything. We have a ton of them that some of them are actually not used. And it would be great at some point to do a little bit of like cleaning it up,
Yeah, but wait, to reiterate, you're trying to remove Picasso from the generic?
Yeah, so that's the whole idea.
Yeah, but like there's if you look at the generic, there's a folder Android TV. We have a Picasso background manager.
It's not used.
This manager is not used.
Yeah, it's not used. So it's just initialized but never used. So the PR actually removed it as well. So yeah. So the whole, I need to actually transit the PR to this new Zap Android project because it's on the old generic. But I can take a look at that. And yeah. So it actually removed that manager thingy because it was initialized somewhere, but in the Android TV, as you said, but it was actually never used. So
yeah, I see. Okay.
Cool. So okay, perfect. So then, as you say, Ruben, then I will put it back into Zap Android, and then I'll if any plugin breaks, actually that should be, I'll make sure everyone knows, and if any plugin breaks with the provider, it should be responsibility to actually fix that because you shouldn't be that in the first place. And cool. Yeah, that's it for me.
Right. Anna.
Not too much from me because I'm mostly fixing bugs at the moment for Sports Deutschland. So not too much, nothing to discuss, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
All right.
Actually, you're fixing two bugs that are very relevant to this forum. One of them, currently for the UI Builder apps, there is no way to change the selected state color of a screen picker cell text. So you have the screen picker component in the UI Builder, so you cannot change its text color when it is selected. Okay? So
what I mean, the what? The screen picker, you cannot change the selected text color?
Yes.
Yes, you can, I think.
I think it
Tab
works on
layout.
a template.
I fixed the tab layout. Yeah, on templates it works because we did a custom tab layout for in every template. Basically, someone just copy pasted between all the templates or some of it. But in the UI builder you cannot. I had pull requests that said in the title that I fixed it, but I think I was confusing with tab layout component.
So the thing is, that the tab layout. The thing is, I actually work on this today. The tab layout is actually using the screen picker, so it's really confusing. And
yeah, but not the. Yeah, it's very confusing. I think it's using the code, but it doesn't set a custom tab or something.
So
like
basically, Javier, the way it was implemented, you know, the swipe tab, it actually have assigned a single color instead of selector. And this is what we were fixing with Reuven. I don't know, did you finish your PR or not yet, but we're on it.
You mean just use a selector, you mean in itself?
It doesn't, it wasn't used selector at all. So
Yeah.
what we fixed, we've changed it to the selector.
Yeah. So for everyone to know as well, as I said, like the custom the tabs are actually using the screen picker layout. I was super confused about that, and as you said, that it took me a while to figure it out, like looking through, like debugging. That was the case. So. Okay, cool.
So
Yeah.
the other bug which I'm working on is what is that, Reuven?
the reminder. You need a reminder about the reminder.
So whenever the notification is setting up for the program and an ID of the notification is not int, it's crashing. So I'm working on a mapper to hold it in a user preferences. That's it.
A bit less technical description is that with custom data source, okay, in the CMS, the programs have basically all the models in the CMS have a integer ID, but the ID is convertible to integer. Okay, this is the ID our CMS is generating. Now, in case of custom data source provider, the idea of a program entry can be not convertible to integer. For example, ER 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever. So the piece of code that is responsible to adding to programs reminder, local notification, to remind when the program starts, this piece of code is assuming the ID was numeric, and then it crashes because it doesn't have try catch on the integer value of. Okay? So basically, Anna is now working on mapping. Well, it's a bit more complex than it sounds because we do need to keep the uniqueness of integers per program. Anyways,
There's a bit of spaghetti code over there which we need to fight with.
Yeah. So basically, Anna is trying to solve to add the ability to add reminders to all program entries, regardless whether the ID is numeric or not. Yeah, so that's it.
Thank you, Reuven. That was very exciting.
Well, Reuven becomes a spokesman now. Okay. Atanas?
Yeah, generally two things. One of them is analytics, related to analytics. It is about player analytics. So there are certain analytics events that are interesting in the player context. So we had a meeting with Joni Austin from the analytics team and the Quasi team. We decided to add some new infrastructure, and it's been signed off by him, and a few guys may have to approve the pull request. So that's gonna be fun. And then the other thing is the inline player, and I'm working on the inline Squadio player, and I can see a lot of things that are missing. Like the inline player is just a view and it doesn't know about activity lifecycle events, but they are quite important. So I added Rubens class from React Native to the SDK, and it can be used in this way now. What else? Things like connectivity, yeah, many things. So maybe after I'm done, because it's still a work in progress, maybe I can share my solutions. So if you guys think that they're useful, maybe we can add them to the SDK, or some of them, or like whatever.
Right, sounds good. Okay, that's it, Tadras?
Yeah, well, I'm working on an animation, so I'm doing a lot of 7th grade geometry, but this is not really interesting.
All right. I think we have Hani left and Gil and Dor if you have anything. Let's move on to Hani now.
Hey. So I've been working on the Facebook login plugin, and I figured out that in our basic permissions, we are not asking for the email. And then I figured out that our permissions, it's defined by the type of the product. I mean, for example, if you want, we have a few types. I get like a player type, open graph, crossmate, and stuff like that. And I don't know if well, I think the best thing to do is to be able to configure it from the plugin configuration. So I added a custom type that you can add more permissions if you want. But
it's plugin for what? For Facebook?
For Facebook login?
Yes.
In where like separate?
So I'm sorry?
For what product is it? Like for the app or for specific?
So it's not for a specific product. It just what currently I need is to be able to get also the email of the user from Facebook, and it's not included in the basic permissions.
Adding it to the basic, sorry, honey, adding it to the basic permission will prompt the user if they are willing to share this information, or it's something that you can get just without any hassle?
No, it's yeah, the user will need to approve it.
It will need to approve it.
Yeah, but it's not in the Facebook submission. You know, you don't need to review it in Facebook as well. So
you're talking about the login from the side menu, from the settings?
From the side menu?
No, he's asking about the feature. Where do you need the Facebook login in general?
In the login.
But where? Like in the app?
In the login for the app, in my case.
So it's login plugin?
Yes, it's Facebook login plugin, and I just added a new ability to add a new permissions if you want to the same login. So.
Okay, and it will log the content, like there is a premium content only if you log in?
So there is a flag if it's mandatory or not. And if it's mandatory, you won't be able to go back or to cancel. So you have to approve the login or do nothing, close the app.
So
But if
I'll
not,
go to the login if I didn't do it on the beginning.
I barely hear you. I'm sorry.
I asked how do I go back to the login if I didn't log in?
How do you go back? If it's mandatory or? So in my case, it's on when the app launch, you'll see a screen with the login options. And if it's not mandatory, you will see also cancel button. But if it's mandatory, you won't.
Okay.
Not sure if it's answering the question or not. But it is. I'm sorry, though. I can't hear you. I don't know why.
So just to wrap up, Hani, you said you needed to add another permission for your login requirements, and the permission is added on the plugin level rather than the SDK level, right?
So in the SDK level, I created like a custom type of permissions, and then if you want to add more permissions, you can just add it through the plugin configuration, and then and that's it. And the type is custom type. Hello.
Okay. All right.
I have a general question. Maybe you talked about it before I came. About the new XML for the families.
No, we didn't talk about it today.
Anna and Javier, you worked on, no?
Don't go this far.
No, just
Yeah.
I want to know if it's if I want to create a new family, should I wait for this or should I do it old-fashioned?
Yeah, so the thing is, let me tell you today or tomorrow. So I need to assess what Alex is doing, because Alex should be done like working with this, and it's delay a lot. It should be done a long time ago. And so I will double check what I need to do my first share of part here that I told you it has to do with Dagger and everything. And I will let you know today, because the problem is that I'm afraid that the part is the testing and everything, that it should be, all the mapping of, removing all this component manager and everything. It should be tested by now, but there's still, as I say, there's still a bit of work to do. So let me double check today, where we stand, and I'll talk to you, and we can assess that. If you feel it's a blocker, just go and do the old way of family.
Yeah, I just don't want to do it twice. That's the.
Yeah, the thing is that it might be easier whenever he wants to join and help us to develop and provide the solution quicker, because for example, I'm not working at the families at the moment at all, and it's like I'm not helping them and I'm not pushing this any forward. And the delays are just because we are doing the other stuff rather than spending sometimes on this family solution. So don't know, it might be worth to just estimate it, how much work has been done, how much is to do, because to be fair, creating new family is so much code and new classes and everything that you will be stuck for the 3 to 5 weeks.
I see.
Yeah, especially I think for me the most annoying part with the families is not even the code in itself. The code, it took time. All the layouts that you need to create, there are a lot of them, and especially, I don't know if you, Anna, any of you guys, but for me, especially the communication part, like the specification part, everything is been so hard. Like specs being out of date, like tokens and not being in the spec, like things are not. So that's been. For me,
the biggest issue is actually keys. and I will be pushing forward the idea to remove the keys at all. We don't need them. We don't need them whenever we're generating the UI. We don't need them really. So I will be pushing forward. I got a couple of, I think 3 of ideas how we can solve this issue, and I will be pushing that forward with the new year. So for me, accepting the keys was a 5 weeks process.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, and for me as well, like the keys, like rewriting the spec and like making sure that this margin has 10 pixels and not 12 pixels, and then checking, and then someone took a decision somewhere along the line, and then I need to do changes, and then waiting for the signs things spec to be updated, and it's been a lot of weeks as well. Like I don't remember when I started with Chagris, but it's been at least 5 or 6 weeks for sure. So between coding and waiting. So.
Alex, I think now is the right view with it.
Sure. So so as I say, like hopefully I mentioned it when I was talking. So hopefully I will work today on the Dagger part, which is like also part of this solution, and we can actually have something to show, because it should not be that hard to to finish what we need to do. And but as I say, like I think we mentioned before, if it's something that you need to do and it's a blocker and you need to do as it is today, then it might be worth to use it the old way, and then we can just move the family to the new way.
Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay. So I think we covered everyone. Did we miss anybody? Gil, do you have something?
Yes.
Okay.
I have just a small one. When you wanted to build an app using Build App or Prepare Workspace, the version argument was not working for some reason. So now it's fixed, but it only works with Prepare Workspace because we want the Build App to be used from the Circle and not to make it like to keep it as clean as possible. So the argument only works with Prepare Workspace.
Version equals and version ID from Zap?
Yeah. That's
okay. Cool.
Yeah, it actually worked before. You just need to execute it twice.
That's the thing is, what it did is it did download the end file, but it didn't update the variables. And on the next time that you used it, it loaded the file that you downloaded before. So it didn't really work,
What was the issue with the difference between load and overload? So for anyone that you guys know that, so one of the things that we use on Rake in Ruby is we use this .env, if you ever take a look, is for loading environmental variables into into Ruby. And so maybe you can explain what's the difference between, there is at some point like you load those environmental variables from the env file. What's the difference between load and overload?
Okay, so when you load a variable that was already loaded, it doesn't overload it. I mean, the first one is the one that counts, unless you specify it,
Okay, so the difference is, if you update a variable that it was already specified and it would not actually update it.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so for everyone to know, if anyone take a look at Rake and Ruby. Okay, cool. Thanks, Eve, for that.
All right, that's it, Gil?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess that's it for today. Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye, guys.
Have a good holidays.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
By the way, you guys are you guys having any holidays in Israel?
You just finished there.
No.
No, you don't guys have holidays like Christmas.
Hanukkah, but Hanukkah is now open.
Okay, cool. But you have New Year's or not even that either?
We do have New Year celebrations, but it's not as it's not a day off. It's something that we.
Okay.
You just had New Year, right? Like a month ago or 2 months ago.
Yeah, the New Year, the Jewish New Year was 3 months ago. Yeah.
Yeah, you can pick both. So. Lots of holidays.
So do you now, Javier? So do you.
I only take the Spanish ones. Come on, I should take the Spanish and Swedish, but I only take the Spanish. The Sweden don't have much holidays. Okay, cool, guys. But
Bye.
yeah, if I
Yeah.
don't talk to you guys, and have a nice holiday.
Bye.
Or, yeah, bye-bye, guys.